Boundaries have now become part of my stewardship, how I steward my time, how I steward what has been given to me, my resources, my energy, everything. And I want you to know that boundaries is not a negative word.
I thought I had to change who I was meant to be, but the more I grow, the more I see it's not about a roller race, a prize to claim. It's finding peace in my own name, just me becoming serene.
Hello there, beautiful, and welcome to another episode of Becoming Serene with me, your host, Ruth Serene Devanay Southall. I'm so glad that you joined me today because remember, this podcast is created just for you, those of us who are on our journey of pursuing peace and in pursuit of purpose. And today's episode is something near and dear to my heart because it's something that I had to learn. And it took a very long time to do so. Let's talk about boundaries and how boundaries are necessary to protect our peace. When you hear the word boundaries, what do you think about? Like, what does it mean to you? Do you immediately see guardrails like they put up when you're learning to bowl and it helps to protect your ball from going into the gutter? Do you think of boundaries as something harsh, where you're not loving someone, you're not able to be kind? What does boundaries mean to you? Because I think essentially that's what I used to think, that in some type of way, creating boundaries or setting boundaries in my life, that was not being loving, it wasn't being kind. But I have learned on this journey, as we become serene, that boundaries are necessary. They're not just necessary, they're extremely necessary, especially when it comes to defining our peace. What is it that you need to say no to? And yes, we all know that when we say no to something, we're saying yes to something else. And when we say yes to something, that means we're saying no to something else. But my boundaries began when I started to create a value system. And I actually determined what were going to be my 3 main core values that led all of my decision making. Have you ever thought about something like that? Like, is it serving me? Is it serving my purpose? And does it even bring me joy? Like, what are the things that mean the most to you? And it's even when it comes to your family, because we as women, once again, I say it almost every episode. Oh, we don't have a problem with giving, pouring, and always putting someone or something else before us. And then we find ourselves just spent, exhausted, tired, burnt out, angry, resentful. It's all of somebody else's fault. And if they stop asking, and if somebody would just tell me to take a break, or if someone just gave me whatever, space, gave me time, no one's gonna give it to you. You have to schedule it. Hello, beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Becoming Serene. But if you have not subscribed yet, please hit that button right now. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you are notified whenever new episodes drop. And if you are truly, truly enjoying this show, please share it with someone else who is also embracing peace in their pursuit of purpose, just like we are. So thank you so much again as we continue our journey together of becoming serene. You have to schedule time for yourself. No one's going to tell you what you need. When you are hungry, your stomach will sometimes remind you that you need to feed yourself. When you're thirsty, you're parched, that means you need to drink something. Your body gives you signals, and the same thing goes for rest and saying no, having the capacity to do things. And guess what? Sometimes, honey, you could just say no because you don't feel like it, because you don't want to, and that's okay. I don't know why. I won't say we. I'm going to go ahead and talk about myself. I don't know why I felt as if I had to say yes to every beck and call and every phone call, every request. I'm like, sure, I could do it. And then I found myself volunteering to do things without people even asking. I know if anybody is watching who's known me all these years of my life, they're like, yeah, everywhere something was going on, they would find me there. And not just showing up, I would be there and active, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and doing all the things and running myself ragged. Am I sorry for those things? No, I promise you, I have no regrets. I am not sorry for it. However, I have learned that boundaries are not necessarily rejection, friends. Boundaries have now become part of my stewardship, how I steward my time, how I steward what has been given to me, my resources, my energy, everything. And I want you to know that boundaries is not a negative word, not at all. As a matter of fact, boundaries is a very freeing word. It is. You will realize that you have so much more freedom. You actually will have so much more time on your hands too when you set boundaries. And it's another thing that I learned when it comes to our peace, because it requires limits. I'll say it again. Peace requires limits. You putting a limit. And guess what? The limit is about access. Everybody who has some type of relationship with you does not have to have full access. So let's talk about that. How loving people doesn't require full access to you. How does that look, Ruth? Like, what do you mean by that? My children, my husband, my sisters, my brothers, my mother, my father, like, what do you mean don't require having full access to you? Because when you have set boundaries and you say, this is my quiet time, this is how I begin my day, and we'll talk about that again. I begin my day in silence and in prayer and in devotion and in worship. I do not begin my day on my cell phone and going straight to social media. That's draining, because number one of the things is, what are you telling yourself is that I need this jolt of what? Whether it's comedy, whether it is still a way that you get your worship and your devotion or something from social media, a social media way, it's still making something else external responsible for your response. Hey, beautiful, what's going on?
Hey, girl, you want to try this new restaurant Friday night?
This Friday?
Yeah, I saw it on TikTok.
Oh my goodness, here we go. Let me check. You said this Friday? Oh, I already know. Fridays are not good for me because that's my self-care day. And although that does not mean I'm saying no to everybody because I'm just, all about me, but I do have to protect my peace with certain boundaries. So it is the day I spend with myself and celebrate me.
Ooh, are you sure it's new? They got good reviews?
No, normally I would say yes, but I'm going to have to say no. I have to guard this time. But thanks for thinking of me. I really, really appreciate it.
Okay, girl, next time.
Yes, for sure. And what about you? How are you guarding your peace? How are you protecting your peace? And a lot of times the algorithms, whatever it is that you usually watch and you usually look at, that's what it's going to send you. Real brief sidebar. I tend to do something a little bit strange, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. I tend to watch homegoing services, funerals on my phone. And do you know what that made the algorithms do? Send every type of death, obituaries, and all of those notifications to my phone. Do you know how draining that could be to your emotional health? And yes, it would make me feel sorry for people who lost a loved one, read all about their story, go to every account that shared it, newspaper accounts, obituaries, watch the funeral. It became absolutely out of control. And that's what made me realize that, girl, you're controlling this. You can set the boundaries on what it is that you watch. You change the algorithm. You know what? I like that. Change the algorithm of your life, not just social media and what your phone leads you to watch. No, change the algorithm of your entire life. How do you want to set your day? Remember, I used to talk about, or I've said on previous shows, to command your morning. Not only are you to command your morning and how you start your day, but how do you end it? Is it stress-filled and induced with a whole bunch of nonsense as well? Is that how you also go to sleep to prepare for rest? Ladies, we have to do better. We have to do better. I am a very proud, recovering, I'm not going to even say I'm fully delivered, because I may very well say yes sometimes to things that I may not want to do. But I am definitely in the process of being fully delivered from being a people pleaser. Yes. In my past, and it could be recent past, I probably would have said yes to some things that I didn't really want to say yes to. I may have attended some things. I may have done some things, literally spearheaded and regretted saying yes, going there in the midst of it, leaving like, this is the last time. I'm never doing this again, and will find myself doing it again. However, you know how you can recover and start to set boundaries? My mom was the first person who told me that no is a full sentence. And she said, you need to use it more. But she knew that will be difficult for me. So for those of you who are like me, and I can't just go from yes, of course, to no, that's way too abrupt. Like, nope, I can't do that, mommy. So she said, well, Ruth, I'll think about that. Let me think about that. Let me, ponder that a little while. And normally, I promise you, probably 80 to 90% out of 100 times, people did not come back because they found another way. They found someone else who said yes. So come up with your own phrase, whether it is, I don't know if I have the capacity to do that right now. Let me check my schedule and I'll get back to you. None of these things are lies. Because if you're like me, it's like, I don't want to lie. So let me tell you another way, and the importance of setting emotional and time boundaries. Everyone does not require full access to your emotional state and being, meaning what? Dumping on you all the time. Like, their mental capacity of wanting to release does not mean you're the dumping ground. You don't have to receive everybody's emotional weight and their problems. Even, I don't have a problem listening to people. I really don't. But it is a fine line between listening and then carrying the weight of what it is they're dealing with. I listen and I process and I pray and then I respond accordingly. And then even with your time, you need to create some type of boundaries with your time, just a schedule of this is my quiet time and it is uninterrupted, and this is my day or moment of alone time where no one has access to me, especially if you are someone like me and have an abundance of things to prioritize. Yes, that is my big way of saying busy, because you could be busy doing nothing. And I'm not saying that I am super busy. I don't feel like I am. A lot of people say that I'm busy all the time. It may look that way, but what it is that I'm prioritizing my day and my schedule. So if you were to ask me literally, can we go get something to eat today or tomorrow or next week? I have to check my calendar. And even when I check my calendar, it may say that I'm actually doing something, attending something, or I have something on my books. But it may even be a space where there's nothing there at all. But that doesn't mean I'm available. That means I have the choice to say yes and fill that space, because I'm not trying to fill up every space on my calendar. Who's doing that? Like, why? Why would you do that? Do you want to look like you filled up every space on your calendar? Because, baby, that's what you're going to start looking run down. And I don't want to look run down. I just don't. I don't want to look that way, and I don't want to feel that way. Proverbs 4:23 states, guard your heart above everything else, because it is the source of life. And guarding my heart is how I am creating those boundaries. Whatever it is, that, not saying that my heart leads me to, but guess what? A lot of times it will tell me, girl, that's a hard no. Like, no. Nope. Say no to that one real quickly, Ruth. And I will. I honestly will. So I want you all to ask yourselves a few questions. Like, where would you need to set stronger boundaries? You may have a few here or there. But have you set boundaries around your time, your emotional state, having access to you? What is it that you need to do today? What decision do you need to make today in order to just not restrict? I don't want to use the word restrict. Let's just say, what's a better word? I'm really leaning towards restrict, but let's just say limiting, okay? Let's limit the access to your space, your energy, your time, and most importantly, your peace. Only you can define that. The same way only you can define your success is the same way you determine and define your peace. And then finally, what would change? What would change if you made up in your mind right now, I'm no longer feeling guilty about protecting my peace, about guarding my heart? What would change? Because if you feel better, guess what? You'll have more capacity to help someone else, to pour into others. You can only do that from your overflow. And I want you all to experience an overflow of love, joy, and peace. So friends, thank you so much once again for joining me for this episode. And if it has blessed you, do not forget to subscribe, like, and share, because boundaries are necessary for your peace. And until next time, I'm Ruth Debonair Southall, and as always, stay serene.